You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
Oh, hi guys.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Corey.
Well, that's a double intro.
I just didn't want it to stop.
I mean, I think maybe one time we should just do a show that's all intro, just for an hour and a half.
Oh, for sure. We could make that a YouTube hit.
Those are very popular. Hour and a half of the same loop track.
Well, there's already videos on YouTube of hour and a half loops, and one of my favorite hour and a half loop is Tim Allen grunting.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite loop.
Wait, was that Tim Allen from Home Improvement?
he was actually just in the studio, Sam. He just left.
He just
gave us a grunt and he went home. So, yeah. See you, Tim.
Wonderful.
Bye, Tim. Sorry, Sam. I was just saying he just left.
Bye, Tim, the Tool Man Thomas, Jonathan Tillman Thomas. He was my favorite from that show.
That's a kid who played on was that Tokyo Drift?
Was
he
it
played the thug at the beginning?
Tim Allen's son?
Yeah, right.
Yep, sure was.
I didn't know Tim
I'm glad
Allen's son.
Pocket was able to bring it back to drifting somehow. Somehow we had deviated so far.
Everything is connected.
I knew.
Well,
I knew as a fan.
Speaking of drifting, we decided that since we've already talked to pretty much every drifting celebrity and anyone that has any impact on drifting in the world already, I think we're just going to stop doing the show. We've talked to everyone, and everyone important, in my opinion. I think all of our opinions is gone, right?
Can you name some of your favorite highlight guests we've had, Sam?
Yeah, Randy Man Macho Savage was my favorite.
He was good. Do you remember that one quote he said? Do you remember that one quote he said on the show?
Yeah, I do. Do you?
Yeah, what was it?
Oh, crap. Hold on.
Oh, God.
Well, hold on. Let's see. It looks like. Oh, there's somebody joined. Oh, hello.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh yes.
It's spinning. It's thinking about it.
I thought we talked to everybody, Sam.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Apparently we haven't talked to everyone. There's one more drifter wants to get on the show.
Okay.
I've been trying for a long time.
Wow. I think that's a lie.
No, because I've been going through my text messages and it's like, James is texting again. Maybe I'll just get back to him later.
Yeah.
Just it's been nonstop.
Look at that.
So
How
we
are you?
now have finally after months and months of him just begging to be on the show, calling in every weekend, us ignoring him. James Deane is finally here with us. Jimmy Ding, the human hot dog himself, 6 foot tall, not 6 foot small. I don't have any. Sorry, I'm out already.
You should say.
James Deane, what's up, man?
Yeah.
All is good. Good to finally be on. I'm glad we could make it work.
Yeah, man. So you just flew halfway around the earth to compete in Formula Drift Texas. That's where you are right now, right?
Yeah, we're in Dallas, about 5 minutes away from the track. Flew in last night, so slightly suffering from a bit of jet lag, but all is good.
So you're saying that you're not usually this exciting?
I'm fine. I'm good. We went karting today, so that woke us up a bit. Myself and Peter and Galo, our team mechanic. So that was quite fun.
Carroting? Is that like picking carrots?
No, he was hanging out with Dean Curting.
Carting.
Oh,
whatever you say yourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually when I'm farting, I go to the bathroom too. So.
Oh my God. Anyways, yeah, you're in Texas. You went karting. What are you planning on doing this weekend? It seems like you haven't had a lot of success lately. What are you gonna have to change a lot of things to finally get back in the game? I imagine you made some drastic changes since Formula Drift Seattle.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about taking a weekend off. Myself, we're really good friends, so we might do a bit of traveling. We've been to Texas last year, not for the event. So it was only a flying visit. So this time we'd like to, try to see what's to do around the place and have some fun.
In all seriousness, though, you could probably skip around and still win, right?
No.
No?
Definitely not.
I don't know.
Definitely not. It's a tough game, that's for sure. But somehow I'm at the right end of it, and it's hard for me to believe still.
Guys, I need your help here. I'm kind of at a loss for words because it's like I've wanted to ask him actual real questions for months now, and now that he's here, it's like I don't even know where to go. Like, all right, James, why do you keep on beating everyone? Like, what do I even say to it?
Well, I think we can go further than back, Sam. What year was your first year in FD?
Yeah, let's get it started.
Yeah, so the first time I made an appearance was at the 2008 Red Bull World Drift Championships in Long Beach. I was only, I think, 16 years old. So we sent our S4 Dino for that. It used to be SR powered before this event, and we decided to go all out. And a lot of people back home in Ireland chipped in, all my family and some sponsors. So we decided to put an RB26 in the car for this event. But it caused us nothing but heartache. We had serious heating issues and steering issues and whatnot, but it was a great experience. That was my first taster of Formula Drift, and I managed to go out in style in the top 32, crashing against with Ben. So yeah, it was a good way to start.
What year was that again?
2008.
2008. And then
Yeah.
did you competed in the full Formula Just season right after that, didn't you?
Going into 2010, Darren McNamara was driving for Falcon, obviously, in those years, and I flew out to Irwindale in 2009 with Darren just to watch the event, and I got on really well with the guys from Falcon Tire, and Darren was very helpful and tried to put something together, and basically Falcon supplied me with their S15 and brought it to the first round in Long Beach just as kind of a test and to see how I'd get on in this car. So that was a huge opportunity for me at the time. And we did Long Beach, and we managed to finish in top 8. And after that event, that was huge for me. Obviously, it's still a top 8 in FD right now is amazing. But back then, at our first appearance, it was something surreal. So the guys from Falcon invited me back for the last 3 West Coast events as well. So that was a big experience.
And that was your first taste in Formula Drift.
That was my first taste, yeah. So
Nice.
four West Coast events, and it was crazy.
So when you first got
Let's go way back before that.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
go 16
exactly.
years prior to that. Your parents are in love. They're together.
Yep.
And they're thinking, you know what, we like each other a lot. Let's make a child. And his name's going to be Jimmy D.
I think that was an accident, to be honest, because I came years behind the rest of my family. So the next oldest is 10 years older than me, so
Great.
I'm not sure if I was totally planned.
Well,
Were they aware that if I name you James, you're gonna sound like a old time movie star?
No, I'm actually named after my great grandfather. So yeah.
your great grandfather was a porn star. God, I can't make any of these jokes anymore.
Sam, you're thinking of the wrong James Deane.
I know. Well, I don't want to ruin all the driver on driver jokes. So I've got to take it real easy
spoiler
here.
alert.
Yeah, pull the
Is that
reins.
actually happening, or did you lose the footage, or what?
Shut up, jerk. I'm working on it. You know,
Shooting
these
back.
things take time. I don't know if you've heard of art, James Deane, and it's tough to make you look good. To be fair,
Maybe
A lot of photoshopping, Sam.
yeah, it's a lot of photoshopping for you. I looked great, obviously.
Yeah,
So it's just a lot of work
It's
for
a
you.
touch of gray.
Yes. You had a good color, yeah.
All right, so fast forward a couple years after you're conceived. The times are rough. They're thinking about giving you up, but you know what? Instead, let's put this kid in a drift car, right?
Yep.
Like, how did drifting begin?
Yeah, so motorsport is big time in my family. Going back years, my dad and my uncle used to rally cars back in the day, and my 2 older brothers were rallying as well when they were obviously young. And drifting in Ireland started in 2002, and my brother Mike, he managed to win that first ever event. and I was there as a 10-year-old kid just spectating, and I kind of knew that, right, when I'm old enough, I want to try to do this. So we knew the guys of the Irish Championship back then quite well, and I was always pestering them, like, when can I start, and at 15 years old, they finally got insurance that would allow us to race, and there was quite a few of my school friends as well that we all kind of started together. So it was, we were living it by day in school. After school, we were going back to our, parents' workshops or whatever, working on our cheap cars. And I first started when I was, 14 was when I first started practicing. So it was a 200 euros Ford Sierra 2-liter twin cam, and that was actually my first car, and I managed to absolutely write that car off. Drifting with one of my best friends, Conor Linehan. We were practicing at a local track back in Ireland, and if you imagine, there was an oval track and then an inside go-kart track, and everyone used to do the track, both ways. There wasn't many rules at the time, and I was drifting the oval, and he was drifting the inside track, and whatever happened, we got our directions mixed up. So I come off the oval into the inside, and we meet in the first corner, head on, sideways. And that was a big bang. So 2 cars were wrecked, but we managed to make one good one out of the 2, and I got another one. My next one was another Ford Sierra. I took the engine gearbox from the first one, put it in the second one, and that was actually a wagon, so something different. But I did my first few competitions in this car, and then with family and friends, we managed to save up enough money to buy a completely stock S14.
So it sounds like drifting has been in your family since the beginning of drifting in Ireland. So you're actually a full-on drift family.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's awesome.
My dad at the start used to be obviously a rally fan, and he didn't really get what was going on. But as the years progressed, and my brother was he was very good. He was one of the best in the country at the time, and he started to get into it. But then when I started, he used to have to take me to all the events, and then that's when he really got into it. And no, he doesn't miss a trick. I think he's more up to date than I am.
Awesome.
Could you say that you probably started drifting about the same time that Conor McGregor started fighting?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I would say I probably started before him.
Oh.
Ooh, you hear that, Connor? James Deane's coming for you, and he's going to kick your weak ass.
Maybe he should start drifting next.
There you go. He's going into every...
As I say, he should come into drifting and go against you, and then you guys can both get paid $100 million.
You're
and call it a day, right?
You're
Maybe
fucked.
himself and Dean Carney would be a better fight.
Yeah, why is that?
Dean is a bit, he's into having fun.
He's into having fun? Oh, God,
I
you
think
watch
they
out
get on
for
well.
Did you guys? I imagine you did watch the old boxing match. Did you? Who are you rooting for in that?
Believe it or not, I didn't see it.
What?
Yeah, because we were in Hockenheim last weekend, and that was the last round of the Drift Masters Championship. And we decided to have a small party after the event, and we just made it up to about 6 a.m. German time, and the fight was about to start, but
No.
it was a better idea to get McDonald's, and everyone
Well, the good news is, since you didn't see it, I can just tell you the outcome. Ireland won. Everyone's pretty pumped on it, and that's it.
The end.
The end.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Connor won in his financial state of affairs anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think everyone won coming out of that thing.
He's crazy.
So what? Unless you guys have more pre-Formula Drift questions, Corey Paco.
I was actually going to ask you if by any chance he has met him before.
No.
Okay, good.
I thought everyone in Ireland knew each other.
Yeah. Small little town.
No, I haven't been at that side of the country yet, so.
Isn't it just like a couple blocks away? Like how far is it? No.
It is 2.5 hours from where I live.
Oh my God, it's so far.
Wow, that's pretty far.
Might have to get a jet.
It's the other side of the country, so.
Yeah,
2.5 hours. You had no time to go over there.
Yeah, you have to get a jet for sure.
Gotta grab your passports and
Yeah, it's tough. I don't
Wow.
blame him. I don't blame him. So yeah, so
Go ahead.
any other stuff? Okay, so leading up to FD this year, what series are you competing in now, and where are you ranking in points currently in the other series that you're running?
Can you repeat that question again? Sorry, it slightly broke up.
So you're running in a
Go
few,
ahead.
yeah. So you're running in a few different series right now, is correct? Drift series.
Yeah.
And are you
Yeah.
are you running a full stop at each one, like all the events?
Yeah, so in Europe, we've competed in the Drift Masters Championship. Myself and Peter also are teammates there with the Bud Met Auto Drift team. And it's been a crazy year traveling back and forth between every round. But so we missed the second round of that series because it clashed with Atlanta. But Peter finished fifth and I finished sixth, I think, in Europe this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
How are you dominating the FD series and then sitting fifth and sixth in the Euro? Is it just because you missed that event, or is it cars that different, or what is it?
To be honest, personally, I really believe that FD is the top level, 100%. I've no doubt about it. The competition is the most serious. You got the biggest amount of really good drivers, I think, and the level of cars and teams and how everyone takes it so seriously is definitely the next level. But the thing about Europe is Europe has so many championships. It definitely has 5 really decent championships, and there's about 5 really good guys in each championship. But if everybody combined, then you would have, like an FD of Europe.
Right.
But it's slowly starting to happen. But I think that's the biggest difference, in my opinion, about the difference between FD and European drifting. But for me this year, I guess in America, with the Warthouse Drift team, I'm given a huge opportunity with those guys. And once the event comes around, my own real job is to drive the car. So the pressure is kind of off. I'm not thinking about, well, I still think about the mechanical side a lot. But I don't have to, I'm not running around like back in Europe. It's a much smaller program, so
Yep.
it's just usually me and one of my friends at each round. So we're both kind of doing everything and helping each other out, and there's a lot more stress and tension and things like that. But this year I've had some problems with the car, just small unlucky things happening, which caused some mechanical failures. I built that S14 back in 2014, so it has 4 full seasons done now, and it's time for a good refresh for next year, I think. But competition is tough over there. You see it every year. It's getting crazier and crazier, and the tandem driving is really something special. Like some of the guys back in Europe are, very, very aggressive, and sometimes it works out, other times it doesn't, but it's exciting to watch.
And are the rules on car building more lax over there? Can you get away with more shit, essentially?
A little bit more lax. There was crazy cars built in countries like Poland and Eastern Europe a number of years ago, and they're slowly starting to phase out. But yeah, there was pretty much tube frame chassis and completely custom steering kits and just crazy stuff. The engine sitting basically in the middle of the car, and sometimes it's hard to compete with that. But
Right.
they're slowly phasing it out, and I think the best way for drifting to go is for everyone to try to go under the same rule book, so it's easier to compete worldwide.
And that's kind of, as you had mentioned a minute ago, one of the cool parts about you that a lot of guys might not know is that you're one of the few remaining drivers that still builds your own cars, right? So you built, or at least had a major part in building your competition cars all around, I imagine, right?
Yeah, so my family, my brothers, and my dad, they work in Deane M Sport, which is basically a workshop right behind my bedroom. So, I've been surrounded by cars all my life, and it's one of the parts what I really enjoy as well about the sport is that, you're constantly learning new things and evolving with the sport, but I think that might also give me a slight advantage over some people that are less involved because, I can kind of I can feel when something is going wrong before it may happen, or I can pinpoint where a problem may be pretty fast. And I think that's I'm very lucky to be brought up around cars and
Right.
have that almost naturally. So, and yeah, I really like even the work and the cars too. At the time I might be busy and stressful, but when you finish a car, you have a lot of pride in the work. So it's
Yeah.
something that I love.
Unless you cross-thread all the bolts and catch your car on fire like I do, because then
Use
actually
wood
you actually
screws.
are less proud of the product. I
At
prefer
least
just to have one that works that someone else made.
Yeah.
you can still get your friends to do it, so it's not so bad.
Yeah,
that's-
that's the trick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm really lucky to have my family and friends, giving me the support.
so kind of going back to Formula Drift, when did you realize you wanted to make the jump back, and kind of what did you do to prepare for that?
Jump back into FD.
Yeah. So was it like last year when you were like, you know what, I want to give this thing a shot, and you started putting a program together? But how did that transition, going from, just running the European series to say, I'm ready to go back? What did you do in preparation to get back into FD again?
Yeah, so like it was pretty crazy. Driftmasters invited me out to the first round of their championship last year to drive a borrowed car. And they supplied me with a left-hand drive car, did the event, had a lot of fun. And myself and Peter have been good friends for many years, mainly because we're rivals at the start. And always, having our favorite battles used to be probably when we faced each other. So we became very friendly and had good times on and off track. And it was after that event we were having a conversation, and I basically just asked Peter, did he ever have a dream of competing in FD, or would he like to do it in the future? And then
Thanks.
basically he said, yeah. He said, I would really love to go there, and that he planned on doing it sometime in the future, and his ultimate dream would be to have a two-car team and possibly me as the second driver. So that's where the whole idea came about, and it kind of went from there to some meetings with the Worthouse company, and all of a sudden we're faced with building two new cars in a very short time frame, and that's what really kept me busy coming up to the start of the championship, because we started building the cars probably in November of last year, and we worked full time all the way to March until we were testing the cars. And the only prep work I really did was watching as many live streams as I could back. So I watched all of last year, every round, every battle, some of the year before, and then just before a round starts, I try to go back over last year's live stream. So that's basically the most prep work I did, and the most useful I found.
So one of my favorite stories, as I've told in the show multiple times, is just like having an ear with lots of the Formula Drift drivers, and of course through the show, like we were asking people, how do you think James Deane is going to do? And there's everyone saying, no, he's going to be top 10, and then there's just those people that are like, no, he's going to win. and there were those guys that have been on the other end of the spectrum too, that were just like, he doesn't know how to handle. Like Long Beach is going to like really teach that guy what's what, because he's a great driver over there, but he doesn't know how to handle the speeds that like they have here at Formula Drift. And then you won Long Beach. And they're like, all right, well, yeah, he won Long Beach, but he can't handle like winding tracks like Orlando. That's really going to screw him. Or like,
running a bank
tracks. And then it's like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know why that would screw the guy, but sure enough, it did not screw you. What was the biggest adaptation or the biggest change you had to make for Formula Drift versus all the drifting you've done previously?
I guess for me, Long Beach was the perfect start. I drove there before back in 2010 with Falcon Tire in their S15, so I had a feeling it's one of those tracks, it's a technical one, and you really need to know the positioning of your car quite well. And I felt like, right, if I was going to make an impact any time of the year, I felt like Long Beach was the one that could be possible. So by qualifying second there, that was already my weekend. I felt like, right, we show we can at least steer, and everything after that was a bonus, basically. But the biggest thing to adapt to, the cars are really fast, obviously. Smoke is a huge factor comparing to Europe. Like, you have some cars in Europe that put out a lot of smoke, but over here it's a different game. Like, you're literally blinded on transitions.
Yeah,
And
unless you're at the door where you spend most of your time, thankfully. But it's like, yeah, if you are not on them, you can't see them.
it's tricky. You have to take chances, and lucky enough for me, and I think you really need to take a chance, and it's worked out a lot of times for me this year. But it's not going to work out every time. It is a chance. But that's
Stop-
more sport. And,
Stop being so humble, dude.
No, but really, you have to take a chance.
What makes your car so fast? Like we saw you versus Osbo in Seattle, which those battles may be the best Formula Drift battles of all time, at least the best of this year, I think. What, like I was sitting up there in the grandstands next to your spotter and next to Papa Mama Kisses, and we realized, like me and the people I was with, the Driftcast guys and others, like realized that no one else in the field could drive as fast and as hard as you guys there, like at least as many times as you did. And I'm not saying that it's all your skill, James, even though you've got a lot, but your cars, you and Osbo specifically, are so damn fast, and it seems like you guys are just faster than everyone else. What makes them fast, in your opinion, without giving up all your secrets?
I don't think we have the fastest cars.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt they're fast. It's the fastest car I've ever driven by a long shot. In terms, like, the biggest change really is power, and the 295 Falcon tire. Back in Europe, I use a 265, so there's a huge jump between a 265 and 295, and it definitely gives the car a lot of pace. But in terms of alignment and suspension, it's exactly the same as my European car, so there's nothing really special.
Do you have any, and again, there's always a fine line of giving away secrets and shit like that, but is there any sort of secret to power delivery or gearing? Like, there's just something about the speed that your car has.
It's all in your right foot. Like, that's your
Yeah.
control. Yeah, it's
I was gonna say, I mean, that's the beauty of the sport too, is finding grip and finding traction and pushing the car and the tires to the maximum that it'll do. But yeah, it's just it was a shocking moment watching those battles with Osbo, realizing that you guys were kind of in another league at this point, and excited to see what continues to go down.
It was pretty shocking for me too. I was like questioning what I was doing. Part next to him in the final in Seattle. It was just insane. But I think everything was almost happening subconsciously. It was weird thinking back.
When you're that fast, you're reacting before you're reacting, right?
Yeah, if you have to think about it, you're going to be stuck in the wall. So it just kind of happens. It's hard to explain, but the adrenaline rush you get off this is like nothing else, and that's for sure. For me, anyway.
And then you want to fall asleep immediately after the cameras turn off and the champagne gets sprayed, but then some jerk makes you do an interview show.
Oh man, that was hard work.
What you got, guys?
Well, that's all good.
Yeah, I was
All
just going to
good.
say, so coming back this year, is there anything that really caught you off guard, stepping back into FD, where you're just kind of shocked?
Um,
If it's the other...
Honestly, I wasn't expecting to be mixing it up so much. My ultimate dream this year coming in was, like, honestly, I've said it to all my friends and family, was one podium. I didn't matter where it was or what position. I just wanted one of those carbon trophies back home.
Yeah.
One podium and a top 10 finish would have been amazing for me. So right now what's happening is, I don't even feel under pressure because it's already surpassed all of my expectations, and I'm just really enjoying the whole experience. I really look forward to coming to Formula Drift, and that is something that I love.
Yeah, so that must have been nice to have all the pressure taken away after the first round, because now you can just kind of drive your ass off and not worry about it. 'Cause you already accomplished what you set out to do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And the new tracks, every round being a new track basically, except I've driven Long Beach and Urbandale. But the new tracks, like on Thursday practice, you don't know what to expect, what to do.
Right.
Should you drive the first corner? Should you just attack it? Gear ratios, setup, everything like that. There's so much to take on, but lucky, like the live stream is a big help. Even with gear ratios, we've been lucky enough to almost have the right one straight off, or have one change after a couple of runs in practice. So it's been good.
Well, I'm going to be the first to say it, because like Long Beach, the speed in the walls didn't get you there. The banks of Orlando and Wall Speedway didn't get you. Yeah, the Canadian weird divot in the wall of the track that didn't get you, and Seattle, the long wall ride. I thought that was going to get you, but this is going to be the one, James. That Texas track. It's finally going to show you, put you in your place. With what does Texas even have anymore? It doesn't really have. It's got a very blind midsection.
I think from what I can see, it's almost like the lottery going through the center section. It's just if you get behind the smoke or if you pop out in the right place. So
now Corey is actually driving in Pro 2 this weekend, and Corey's driven the track in reverse. He's never driven it the current status.
Nope.
What advice? What advice can you
by
give
the way,
him?
just
you guys should just discuss.
Just to clarify, he did it like with the reverse gear. His transmission, the first, second, and third,
Yeah,
that
he
was
drove it
all
in
messed
reverse,
up, so he put it on reverse and he drove it backwards.
That's what our
reverse injuries all weekend.
Yeah,
our for race.
reverse entry and exit.
Yeah, we ran.
Give me I'm give you a call about that after. I could do with some advice on those reverse entries.
Yeah, it works wonders. It qualifies you 33rd every time. No, that's Texas is. It's a fast track. It's a really, really fast track. I don't know what I watched last year's footage already, and it looks like the run-up's actually shorter than in 2013. 2013 had a really long run-up. It was actually one of the fastest entries of the year. But it looks like it's a little bit shorter coming back the other way. But I agree with them. The whole smoke up the middle was still the same going either direction, where it's like you go in with them, but as soon as you transition, you're just hoping that you time it well with them where you can get to that zone. But yeah, it's a fun track. It's technical in that particular section, but yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be exciting. I watched all last year's too.
Are you gonna win the Pro 2 championship, Corey?
Yeah, this year I'm going to.
Perfect.
Well, I've been training all year to run one event, so
Are you excited?
yeah, I'm really excited. Except dealing with a bunch of headaches and broken cars and trying to get them fixed in time. I don't enjoy that very much, but if you just keep busting butt, you can finally go drive.
Are you gonna apply for Team Worth House for Pro 2 next year?
No, I'm gonna. I can't keep up with James. I can't keep up with him. Maybe next year, the following year. No, I'm excited, dude. I'm probably just excited as you were when you first stepped back in. I'm just, got butterflies. Do you still get butterflies in qualifying and practice?
Oh man, you have no idea. Every event is still like my first, and it's. I think when that starts to go, that's when you're, it shows when you're not enjoying the sport anymore. But for me, I'd be shitting myself before every fucking one.
That's exactly that's the only thing I was thinking about. That's one thing that always kind of got me back in the day. And I've talked to a lot of people. I actually talked to Vaughn about this and Forsberg and all these other guys. Like, dude, I get fucking butterflies so bad rolling up to grid, like so bad it just sits in your gut. And then it's like you're watching the staging guy when he gives you the okay to go, and it's like, oh god, I just got to do one good run. I did 20 good runs in practice. I got to do, and I think you kind of get in your own head to some degree. But it's like as soon as he tells you to go, you have to turn it on. And sometimes you can overdrive the car or underdrive it or go. But that's probably the most stressful thing that I'm trying to just get my mental game back.
But what would you both of you guys would rather get, like butterflies or diarrhea?
It's the same thing.
During qualifying.
It's the same thing. It's pretty much feels like the same thing, except to get butterflies in the stomach and diarrhea in the brain because you're just like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah, that's one thing. What do you do to deal with the butterflies, or like when you pull up
Swat 'em.
when you come up to qualify? Are you obviously nervous, but
For me, I stay out of the car for as long as possible. So I'm talking to people or whatever it takes to not be sitting and thinking. So I try to get in the car and get prepared as close to my run as possible, because I feel if you're just sitting there in the queue and waiting, that's when you can get your head can get a hold of yourself.
I would say
It's interesting.
oh, that is brilliant.
on your professional approach, what do you think is the most appropriate amount of Jameson shots you should take before qualifying?
Uh-oh.
I would 3 probably.
Three takes off the edge.
That's probably a safe number. You should be still pretty good, and just takes that little edge
Takes
away.
the edge off. Yeah, right.
That's interesting, dude. I'm glad you brought that up.
Try it out in the Pro 2 and let me know how you get on. And
Dude, because I would get in the car really early, actually, because I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to get in the car. I need time to settle in. I had this whole routine of like,
so
okay.
you have a full bottle in the car, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I'm sitting there. I'm one of the last ones to qualify, so I'm sitting there just sipping on a bottle and waiting for my turn. But the thing is, I would sit there and I'm like,
Whiskey and
okay,
spaghetti.
just get calm, get relaxed, get one with the car, hang out. But then again, like you said, you just sit there and think about every scenario that you experience over the weekend or during practice. You think about every single, every good run. It's like, okay, I got to do the good one. But that one run where I really messed up, and then that's when you get to the grid and you're already fucked anyways in the head. But yeah, that's one thing I'm kind of getting used to again, is preparing myself for getting the butterflies and how to deal with it. Because there's dudes in the sport that have sports psychologists. I don't know if you realize that. There's people that take beta blockers. There's people that take for sure.
What are the
dude.
beta blockers?
It's a way to control adrenaline and control
The runs.
Yeah, just so you don't obviously overthink. There's people like that happens in the sport. I don't know if you call that like a sports enhancing or performance enhancing drug if you are taking something to reduce the amount of stress going into that. But yeah, a lot of people have sports psychologists and to get over that one feeling. And if you guys remember when J.R. Hildebrand ran the the IndyCar driver.
1 second.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
He
He got so nervous, he's got to go. He's got to go take
He's
a
either got the
quick,
butterflies or the diarrhea.
Look at this.
Oh my God! Party's
Jesus
over.
Christ, look who ends up showing up.
Party's over.
What are you
Hey,
doing?
there's
What are you doing there, bloke?
What?
What are you doing?
I came in to get a beer off of James, but he's been dry. He's just sat here drinking water.
Did you
really? What a letdown.
He's getting soft.
How are you?
Good to see you.
It's been a while.
Are you guys gonna make out or
We've been
what?
joined for a moment by DK, Dean, Arnie.
Dennis Blomore. Right, shit.
Anything to avoid hanging out with you guys.
Can you guys understand anything?
Hold on.
No,
Where'd he go? Is he leaving?
we don't speak
Yeah,
Irish.
he's trying
Sorry.
to find some interesting place, it looks like.
What?
Hey.
He's back. What are you up to?
How upset are you that you used to be the only Irish drifter and all the Irish fans knew where to go to and perform in the drift, and now suddenly this chump shows up and everyone's like, "Oh, cool, he's here. He's the best Irish drifter." Like,
He's the best. He's brilliant.
oh,
Well, why?
No, it's good to have four here for sure.
It looks like
Hello?
there's a party about to
great.
happen.
There's a few more
Dean's.
people actually waiting outside. Come on.
Well, carry on, Chideo. That's British.
Hello.
It looks like James
my
Deane's room
God.
got infiltrated.
we have.
Hey,
Peter Wheatcheck. What's
it's
up, man?
Evan Peters.
Yeah.
Hijacked, really.
Yeah, you can't see the other two, but they are here.
I like James or something. Or what?
James, your hair grew really long in the half second you were gone.
Suddenly turn
Your
into.
accent.
Okay, now it's your turn. Now
This-
it's
What?
your turn.
Come on, Liam, say hello.
What is going on?
Peter, we need to have you back on the show soon, for real, and I guess we'll talk to you too, Dean, at some point.
That looks like an Irish boy band.
Oh my God.
Oh crap!
Oh,
James Deane is back.
what's going?
Dan.
Is
Dan
it?
Summer.
It's Liam Dorham. We got Liam on the show here. What the hell are you doing in the States?
Liam Durham, I didn't think he was allowed at drift events anymore.
It's not great.
He definitely shouldn't be allowed in my hotel room, that's for sure.
Why two of them better now?
What's your plan?
I was waiting downstairs.
Alright.
Keep the plans on TV.
Say it loud so everybody who's watching live, it just heads over to whatever place you guys are about to party.
No, that's.
Yeah, what room are you? We'll head over.
It looks like it's an Irish boy band or something.
Oh.
Backdoor boys.
What's the weather like in Texas? Because I'm not looking forward to another crappy round of weather there.
97.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yep. And that was about 2 hours ago.
Ugh, Texas is usually the worst weather. Seattle this year was brutal. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to another 100-degree Texas year.
Yeah, man, it's that's probably one of the biggest struggles for me this year is the heat.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're running a cool suit.
No,
You should get a cool
Because
suit.
he's a man.
Hey Sam, when you're cool, you don't need no cool suit.
Yeah, he's just a
Oh,
man.
that's true. It's actually only supposed to be a high of 86 on Friday and Saturday, but I'm sure humidity of 50%. So it's gonna be
Oh,
a
it's
little
gonna be
bit brutal.
sweaty balls.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You're running a
Where
cool
was
suit,
it?
Corey?
Orlando this year
Nah.
was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know if you've
On
listened.
that Thursday,
Yeah, it was the most awful weather I've ever experienced, maybe. And I don't know if you've listened to the show previously, but I'm a strong advocate of never going back to Orlando ever again for drifting or otherwise. So hopefully you guys don't have to deal with that next year. But yeah, you got to get a cool suit. It's got to make the world a difference for somebody out there. I can't imagine sitting in a Formula Drift car for an hour on grid when stuff goes down.
yeah, something to definitely look at for next year. But we've been managing. It's just it's in Orlando. I had to stop practice because it was getting me too much. On the Thursday, it was really sick.
I was gonna say it affects me for like days when it happens now. Like if that Thursday, or I should say like 3 days after the drift event in Orlando, I still like couldn't think right, and I was still tired as hell. Like it's so rough.
Haven't you guys ever heard of the FD hangover?
Yeah,
that's
too.
exactly what it is. It's the Formula Drift hangover. After every FD round, you're done for like a day just recovering from
these
it.
two.
It's an actual thing you get after spending so much time at an event.
I think we should like start like a mobile bar at the hot pit, mobile drinks. You know, like margaritas and daiquiris. You know, keep the
Taco
drivers-
Bell,
Oh,
Yeah.
now we're
Jaeger
talking.
bombs,
What the?
Rumplemans.
Hey, I got a question for James. What's your most favorite track so far, and what's your least?
Most favorite track, I would say Long Beach. Least favorite,
And why?
and why? Probably Orlando. It's not so bad, but that bump coming off the bank is just ridiculous.
Is it
Like,
as bad
we-
as New Jersey?
It's worse.
Worse, really? Holy shit!
It's worse because in New Jersey you kind of transition off it, where it's in Orlando it's like coming out of someone's driveway. You come straight off it on full power, and the car just bottoms out, and it's hard in the car, and it's very easy to upset your line too.
Was it at Orlando where you got defeated by Castro?
Yeah.
What was it like to be beat by another Irishman?
That was an awesome battle.
Yeah.
Definitely for me and for him. And you know, when you lose to an all-out fight is it's the best way to lose, and
Yeah.
it happens. You know, when it happens, you just have to
Take it.
say that you tried your best, and it's better than losing because you held back or you weren't pushing hard enough.
Yeah, that definitely
Did
made.
you think?
Go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead, Corey.
That'd be all
I was
right.
gonna say, did you think that your big Formula Drift run was like coming to a close at that point? You're like, oh no, I've been beaten early on in a battle. Like, did you think you were gonna win another event after you lost that one?
I'm from the start. I've been taking it one round at a time. Honestly, obviously I try my best at every event I do, but it's worked out a couple of times since, and it's been crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Cole.
No, I was going to say, just listening. The most interesting thing is how calm he is about it. And I think that's one of the most difficult things as a driver to kind of do is like look at each round as just another round. And it's not part of a series, just to kind of keep you cool. Because if you do look back and be like, man, I went out on top 16, I'm not doing so good, you're already beating yourself up for the next round. And that's the thing is, a lot of this sport, a majority of it's just the head game. If you can control and manage your head, I think you have an advantage over everybody else because everybody does beat themselves up, especially when you have sponsors and everything like that on board. You don't want to have a bad performance because then you start thinking about losing your guys. And I don't know. I think that's probably the most impressive thing is how you maintain your composure through this.
It really is. There's so much pressure involved, and I'm not saying that it's easy and I'm completely relaxed. Like you'd be stressed coming up to rounds, and you'd be, you want to do your best, but at the same time, I'm not thinking about Arundel now. I'm thinking about Texas. I just try not to get ahead of myself, and that's how I seem to deal with every event I do, no matter where it is.
That's brilliant.
It's disappointing how calm and humble you are. I just feel like I wish you were a bigger dickhead about your winning and your victories and your skill.
I wish he was covered in money and like trophies right now and just stacks of American
You should
dollars.
get a grill.
Oh yeah, he's in Texas. He can go to Paul Wall.
There you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say Texas and Atlanta. They probably got some cool grill shops. So you know what that is, Jimmy Deane.
Grill shop.
Yeah, like you get your
Gold
teeth
tea.
plated in gold and rocks. You ice up your grill.
Yeah, I think that would suit me, all right.
There you go. All right, it's sold. He's sold on it.
Yeah, we're used to talking to Dean, Kearney, and we talked a little bit to DMAC a little while ago. So we were expecting something more, like a little wilder. Yeah, you're very calm. You're like, is this like actually like part of your game before going to the round? Just like stay calm, be chill, or that's really you all the time?
I'm pretty calm most of the time. To be honest, right now I'm pretty exhausted too from the jet lag, so that's not helping.
Wow.
But no, there's times when I definitely come out of myself a bit more. But Sam, the way you're looking at that laptop is, making me feel very uncomfortable.
I'm actually photoshopping some photos of you in interesting positions, and I'm going to release them on the internet, and we'll see if that makes you mad.
No, don't worry.
No, actually, it's funny. That's actually our good friend. That's our good friend Lolo Nichols, Lorette, the finer side of Maximum Driftcast, and she was asking where the live version was because she wanted to see your beautiful face, but we're not going live directly on this one right now. It's just going to go live tomorrow for our fans. You can say whatever you want, and we'll edit it out. We promise. Tell me how you really feel about the fans.
Well, let's find some. I should have had a couple of beers.
I know, right?
Oh, why didn't you? Yeah, the drinking is encouraged on this show, so you should totally be having some.
Oh yeah, speaking of, I'm going to refill my drink. So if you guys want to talk any massive amounts of shit, right now is the time. I'm going to be back in about 30 seconds. You can just pretend like nothing was said. All right, I'm going now.
Nope. See you, Sam. We don't need you anyways. I hope you're pouring enough for all of us. So why did you end up getting to Texas so early? Because obviously we don't do anything until Thursday. What was your game plan for that? Because your car is stored at Bridges Racing in California. Do you just go in and kind of just get acclimated, or?
So before all the rounds, Bridges Racing look after all the smaller maintenance on the cars. But Gello, who's from Poland, and myself and Peter, we do all the final prep on the cars. So tomorrow, I think we'll be going to the track or else somewhere else, get the cars unloaded. We must change the gearbox in my car because it's a small issue with third gear. And we have the one which got damaged in Atlanta. We have that rebuilt, so we're going to put that back in and just double check everything on the car. So that's the main reason we come in a few days before we would normally.
I'm trying to adjust to that jet lag.
Yeah.
You're running a sequential transmission, is that correct?
Yeah, Quaife sequential. Yeah.
Quaife, you said?
Quaife.
Paco, take it easy, bud.
Quaife engineering. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. How do you like that in comparison to like the gated H4 pattern?
Actually, I had a side shift. What was it? Tex Racing T101A in my S14 a few years ago, and it was a bit agricultural, but it was very hard to miss shift, and the gearbox was strong as hell. Whereas with a sequential, when everything is working, it's 100%. But if you miss shift, you can do a lot of damage quite easily to the gearboxes. So I think they mightn't be as bulletproof, but when they're working, they're a pleasure to use.
Nice.
I'm sure you'd love it. You just keep on pulling the gears.
Go faster.
Paco's usually always pulling on something, if you know what I mean. So it's actually would be pretty natural
it's
for
called
him.
tugging.
Is it more of something Corey should be saving up for?
Yeah, I probably should.
Do you have to?
Corey needs to save up for an actual car that works first. Let's work on one thing at a time.
That's half the battles. That's the
Don't
thing is
give up.
your car's been pretty reliable all year too. Like from what we see, it seems like it's been pretty reliable. That's half the battle with the sport, especially making 800-900 horsepower.
Yeah, showing up.
It's just making sure your car's put together. You know that it can maintain that. Because even like before you came back, obviously like Daigo, we always say he fucked up the sport by making 1,000, 1,200 horsepower, and everybody tried doing that, but then everybody's blowing out clutches and drivetrains and nothing could keep up. They can't keep an engine in it. So I think it's at a point now where it's actually coming back down to about 800, 900 is about a safe spot where you can keep the cars together. But that's half the battles. If you can make that thing run and all year and keep it together, you have a chance at winning this thing. Because you look at Osbo last year, Osbo changed how many engines?
4.
Gucci changed how many engines? And they were top competitors, but they were, burning through engines.
Reliability is definitely one of the most important things about this sport.
I mean, look at Forsberg this year. He's
Yeah.
also
He's been
struggling
having issues too with that all.
Yep. So I mean, nobody. It doesn't matter if you're a champion or not. Nobody's exempt from getting those mechanical issues. But so far, it seems like you guys been handling the whole thing pretty good. You guys have a pretty nice program put together between you and Peter. How you like? Is this the same way you run your programs in Europe, or is this just like for Formula Drift?
No, this is mainly how we run it for FD. Peter runs it quite similar with his teammate David Karkoshik in Poland because they've been driving together for the last I don't know 4 or 5 years. So they have something very similar back in Europe. Over here, it's probably a step up with our spares package and everything else that's with us at the events. So it's really good knowing that if we do make a mistake or put the car on the wall, that we have everything to get back out on track. And the Bridges crew are really good to make sure everything is right for us too. But I think the cars are really good setup, quite similar to what we have in Europe, just like bigger brothers. So my car has probably I think it's 820 horsepower at the flywheel, plus the 150 shot of nitrous. So it's probably 950, 970, maybe a little bit more on a good day. But it seems reliable. It's still 3 liter, so we're not running a stroker kit. We're just sticking with what we know.
Wow.
Back in Europe, because there's no point coming to a totally new championship with unknown cars, because as you said, if you're stuck in the pits broken down, you're not going to get anywhere.
So you don't have
that is definitely an interesting note of you, is that you don't have one of the craziest cars out there. You don't have a totally unique build. You're not running any revolutionary new technology. It's just probably the most tried and true chassis with the most tried and true engine with parts that are kind of already known to work.
Do you know who he kind of reminds me of, Sam?
Everything is pretty much off the shelf.
He reminds me of Yokoi. When Yokoi came to FD.
Yeah, for sure.
He had a cable handbrake though, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a cable handbrake. That's only his car was so basic that it was in consideration. That's what I'm getting at. It's very basic compared to everywhere else, where he still had the basic cable handbrake that comes factory in the S15. But it was very simple. When he was one of the dudes that went all year, no issues, and he podiumed in Texas actually as a rookie, and he was one of those dudes that just had the setup that he would run in Japan, brought it out here, made a few changes, probably added just a little bit more horsepower to keep up with these guys. But it's very similar to see your guys' setup versus his, because it's something that definitely works.
Especially
for sure.
both S15s.
Yeah, both S15s. I think.
Yeah, so the spares package, my car was mainly built in Ireland. They were both finished in Poland because that's where all the parts were, and we're almost running out of time. So when we were out of parts in Ireland, we drove the car to Poland and finished assembling the 2 cars side by side. And every part in each car is the same. So I'm not running anything different to Peter. Peter's not running anything different. The biggest change is his is left-hand drive and mine is right. That's it. Basically.
Yeah.
That's pretty convenient, like if he's out and you're still running, you can just go and grab parts out of his car, Corey knows a little bit about that.
Yeah. So what do you do? What do you think about all these cars
It's-
running crazy anti-lag and all this other stuff? Do you think it's necessary?
I think it sounds good, but I would like to personally. But if it's gonna give us reliability issues, I'd rather stay as we are. It's something we might test in the off season, maybe. It's hard to know. I know the main guy, our tuner, doesn't really like it because of extra heat and this and that. So as the cars have been reliable and they're still on the same engines as we were testing in Poland, it's I think it would be possibly a bad move.
Like they say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Right?
Yeah.
And what suspension are you running on the car all the way around from coilovers to angle kits and stuff?
Yeah, so we're running Wisefab front and rear, just their off-the-shelf kit, feel suspension front and rear. It's basically all the same as my car back in Europe. It's a 3-liter. Compression ratio is 9-to-1, 280-degree camshafts, 1 mil oversized valves, Borg Warner, 9180 turbo, 150 shot direct port nitrous, the sequential box, quick change, dry sump system, which is probably one of the best parts about the car because oil pressure is always 100% and no starvation issues. So I think that's a well worth investment for any engine, especially
Dry sump.
high horsepower ones that really can't afford to have any mishap.
That seems to be a very overlooked thing on drift cars because a lot of people still don't understand that when you're going sideways, the oil slushes on one side and then on the other side, and
Well, it's not so much overlooked as much as it costs a lot of money, doesn't it?
Oh, dry sumps, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, it's not a crazy. If you're competing in Formula Drift and
Yeah, you should have it at top tier drifting for sure, but I think that most guys just don't justify the cost because they also probably don't need it if you have lower speed, horsepower.
it can work. Like in Europe with my S14, I don't have it, but I do see the advantages of having it in this car.
Yeah, because a lot of people are still running like a wet sump with like a baffled oil
Baffled
pan and then
pans.
AccuSump. It's like what a lot of people are going to because it's an affordable setup.
Yeah.
But like he was saying, dude, it's like if you're already running at this level, it's probably
have
worth
probably,
the
yeah.
investment. Especially how hard you're pushing these freaking engines. It's like, dude, this thing will. And if it just saves you that
It's-
one time,
Yeah, and that's what I meant. I mean, like,
It's okay. It's okay if you're not having bottom end issues, but if you're seeing, your data or whatever isn't showing good signs, then I think it's definitely the way to go.
Well, Corey's definitely familiar with bottom end issues, so it's something you should definitely look into.
A huge part of it as well is the quantity of oil in the system is so much more that your oil temperatures are always 100%. Like we have no heating issues either, and we thought that would be one of the biggest issues we'd have competing in FD.
that's nice.
And you get to add weight, which seems like what everyone wants to do now. You're not just adding weight, you're taking away weight, but putting it back in places you want.
Exactly.
that's why I've been eating so much.
To try to put it what he wanted.
Hey, so coming back to FD, who was some of the drivers that you kind of looked up to coming back, or who was like some of your inspirations or people you looked up to in drifting? It doesn't necessarily have to be FD, but who was like your motivator?
Well, when Daigo was doing FD, I really enjoyed his style of driving. So aggressive, just he was just going closer than most other opponents, and I think that's what makes drifting exciting. But in the last couple of years, it's definitely been Asbo and Forsberg. I think for me have been just those two guys that are always up there, always competitive, always pushing hard, and I think that's who I really looked at as being the very top. But obviously everyone else is well below that. Everyone has their good day, their bad day, and obviously mechanical issues come into play. But I think between Asbo and Forsberg, especially last year, they were definitely the ones to watch.
Aside from maybe going up against Osbo, because you guys have gone at it pretty crazily this year, who are you most maybe worried to go up against? Who would you not like to see in battle?
I think this year has been really interesting to look back on because I think the driving is getting more extreme every round by everybody. So
Certainly.
tandems are getting crazier. Like you see Vaughn and Chelsea the last round, it was amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be the best battle of the season, and then you guys went at it. You and Osbo later on, so it's like that was some of the best battles of drifting ever.
Yeah, it's crazy. Then you have Castro on. When he's when he's on it, he's just a man possessed, and if he can keep doing that, it's going to be extremely hard to beat him.
Right.
Yeah, so it's hard to pick one because everyone can just pull it out of the bag. You have Matt Field, his crazy driving style, and there's just so many, and that's why I love Formula Drift is because you never know what to expect.
Well, you
Even
came
from practice. And from practice going into competition, somebody might look like they're, as you say, winning practice, but it can all change going into competition. Or someone that was looking shaky in practice can pull it out of the bag when you're not expecting it. So it's one of the reasons why I love the sport.
right, and you also came back at a pretty unique time, without having a 32 car field, you're averaging 26, 28 cars. How do you enjoy that or not, or what's your take on the 26, 28 car field, the low car number, and how does that compare to other series, and what type of car count are you going against in the other series?
Yeah, so obviously it would be ideal to have 32 cars or more. Not too much more because qualifying gets very boring, and I think it can just take too long. But I think if there was like 35, 36, that's ideal. So everybody knows, right, we have to put it down or else we have a chance of not qualifying. Like that's a really nervous thing to have in your mind. But at the same time, you kind of still have that now because there's some chance of getting straight into the top 16. So
Right.
everyone's pushing hard to try to get one of those buy runs, even though it's not ideal, as a drift fan or whatever, you don't want to see it, but still, if you, as most people are coming to these events to try to win, it's one step closer. So
Right.
it still makes you push that bit harder. But comparing it to Europe, it can vary. But there's some events in Europe where it's like FD back in 2008 or 9 or 10, like the 60 cars sometimes. 65 in the pro class, so it's a lot of cars, but there's it's almost like combining Pro 2 and Pro 1, if you know what I mean.
Right. It's the skill set's much different from the top guys to the bottom of the bracket.
100%, yeah.
Because
So what I like about FD right now is everybody that's there can drive.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing is if you go into a top 32 battle, there's no
That's
freebies.
not the one that you say, that one's gonna be easy. It's
Right. Or he got
everybody
lucky
gets-
in qualifying. It's going to be easy.
Who you get?
Yeah. Do you
Guys, let's get a couple more questions in. Let's go to the Instagram fan questions.
as I say, do you watch Pro 2?
Have I watched Pro 2?
Yeah. Have you followed it?
Not all of it, but as much as we could.
Who do you think looks like a very promising driver from Pro 2 that's coming to Pro?
I really like Dirk,
Dirk?
and that's his name, yeah.
Dirk
Yep.
Stratton?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm Irish, so give me a chance.
Nope, no chances for you, sir. Yep.
Yeah, so I really like his car too, and I think he's a really good driver. And it was also great to see Dylan at the last round come out
Yeah.
first time. He's a super nice guy, and honestly, he spends a lot of time with Chris because he's not afraid to throw it on someone's door. So it's great to see new people coming in and pushing hard. So I hope they can keep it up and yeah. As he said, it's the future of the sport for sure.
Nice.
Sam, anything?
All right. Let's pop into these Instagram questions. So we asked, of course, the kids from the internet what they would like to ask the one and only James Deane, and I'll get it rolling with the first reply was from Max Frolic, and he says, "Is it true he dropped out of high school to pursue drifting?"
That is true.
That is true.
Ding, ding, ding,
Damn, I
ding.
thought it was going to be an internet rumor. That is a real thing.
Yeah, I left. Basically, I had a couple of options. It was 2007, and I managed to win my first event. I was 15 years old, and it was a pro event. So I got a couple of sponsors after this, and going into 2008, I still had 2 years left in school, and I got a sponsorship opportunity from Nexon Tire back then, and they wanted me to do the Irish Championship and the European Championship. So that involved me missing a lot of school, and almost too much, because there's only so many days you can miss in school without being, running into issues. So I decided to, obviously, it wasn't a full sponsorship deal, so I needed to find money from somewhere, and my family could only support me so much at the time, and I basically left school and started a job working in a Nissan main dealership, so as a mechanic.
That's awesome. I wish I knew this before we did our driver interview, because then I could have made fun of you for being dumb or something, which you're obviously not. But that's awesome. I didn't know you were a total dropout. So, I think the good thing that we have to say to the kids here is you should drop out of high school, right, James?
Yeah, if you think you have a chance of pursuing your dreams, definitely, why not? It worked for me.
Yes,
It was a big
nice.
chance to take, but one I don't regret a bit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cody dropped from
You can also
kindergarten.
back, so
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's a killer story. Let's see here. I got a question for you. This is from BKling93. Do you feel like the FD payouts are fair? Does the payouts really affect your program as well?
it's it's better than what we're used to back in Europe. But I think for the world #1 series, that obviously everything happens in stages. I think if it can keep on progressing the way it is, I'm sure that will also progress. But I can't complain.
Awesome, dude.
It's obviously for me, I'm back in Europe too, so taking the money home probably isn't as easy as if you're a resident here. So it's not going to have a huge effect on my program, I don't think.
I have a question from Jacob from Pistonhead Productions. He's asking, if you were from America, what state would you be from?
Probably California, because that's where most of the people I know are from. That's where the Bridges Racing is based. But I'm easy. I travel pretty much for a living, so I don't really have a home. I live out of my suitcase.
Yeah.
What I find impressive, though, is that you always manage to bring those really nice paintings to whatever hotel room you go to. So
Yeah.
if you're watching the video portion of this, those are James's favorite pieces of art. You can take them with him everywhere. Now you might be thinking like, oh, those just look like regular, like those look like shitty just hotel room prints from like a Holiday Inn
But
outside
no.
of Dallas. You're wrong. Those are his favorite pieces.
His lucky.
Can you tell us a little bit about those pictures behind you, James? What makes them so special to you?
This one it reminds me of home, because it's exactly the tablecloth we use where we feast every day.
Is that your
Yeah.
cleanse?
And that's a direct copy, so just in case.
I just realized it's the same picture twice. They really thought about the interior design of that place.
That's
Case
brilliant.
One was missing. He's got
Yeah.
the backup.
Yeah. Look like tablecloths.
They go all out here.
That's brilliant. All right, here's one for you,
This
Nathan.
is always a fun question when people ask this. This is from Nathan Beek. He says, you have to abandon your S chassis and take another Pro or Pro 2 driver's car. Which car would you take, Steel, to be your car?
Oh, man. Another tricky one.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
Pick 3.
Oh. Okay.
That's even harder.
Oh, shit.
So I think I would take Von Gitten's car, because it must be a totally different experience to drive with this 3-wheel motion and everything like that. And it just looks like a really fun car to drive, and it sounds amazing too. So for me, I'm not the biggest V8 fan, but a higher revving V8, they do sound awesome, and especially with their driving style as well. It's just a full package. I also love how Matt Kaufman's car sounds. I think it's amazing, and
Also Ford engine.
Asmo's little 4-banger, that thing is just
Yeah.
insane, and I'd love to know how it actually feels, because it's like nothing that anyone else drifts. So it has to be pretty interesting, and it would be an interesting car to drive for sure.
Have you driven a V8 in competition much before?
A couple of times. I drove that low brain drifter's PS13 back in Europe. It has an LS1, I think, dry sump, and it has race heads in it and good cam and stuff, and it does sound amazing. It revs pretty hard too, so that was good fun. Not the most powerful, but it's just enjoyable to listen to more than anything. So it was really good. Other than that, I don't think so.
So you're obviously, because you keep on running them, you're partial to 2J motors and the power band of a Turbo 6. Granted, assisted by nitrous, but that still more suits you rather than a V8.
I'm easy. I like driving different cars, so for me it doesn't matter. Once, like, it depends what competition you're in. So that low brain car would work fine back in most Irish tracks and European tracks, but over here it just wouldn't cut it. So it depends where you are and what you're competing against. But for me, I definitely like trying different things, and I'm not totally against turbo lag, and you know I just like driving cars.
Do you have any experience with rotaries? Hello?
What was that?
Do you have any experience driving rotaries?
No.
Would you like to?
So
He does have an RX-7.
Yeah.
But it's not a rotary.
Right.
Right?
yeah. Not by choice. That was an interesting one too, because when I sent my S14 to Los Angeles for Red Bull back in 2008, the car was delayed coming back home. So to start the 2009 Irish Drift Championship, I had no car. So we weren't quite sure when the S14 would come back. So my brother had an RX-7 there with a blown rotary engine. So he said, right, we have some time, we have an SR there, let's just put it together, put a cage in it, and go from there. So got help with some sponsorship and managed to put the car together, and that's how it came about with an SR.
Wow.
There's nobody in Ireland, or not so many places in England, have so much experience with the rotary engine.
Oh, speaking of rotary engine, there's a rotary phone going in your hotel there. Need to get that.
Unhook it.
So let's make sure we can hear it. No, have the conversation, James.
Who calls the hotel room anymore?
Yeah, like maybe the other guys on the room are like, hey, where you at? Asshat, come party. What would they call themselves? Like, what's a good Irish offense from an Irish brother to another Irish brother?
A good Irish what?
Like, what would an Irish call another Irish guy? Like, hey, come on, like an offensive, like, come on, idiot, come on, you know.
Hey, bloke, listen here, mate. I'm gonna punch you in the gobber, pal. Oh, James is back.
Carney would just say, come on, Ted, what are you waiting for?
Ted?
Ted, yeah, but that's a Carney thing.
That's very that's a very offensive thing,
Ted.
Kearney.
He calls everyone Ted. Male, cats, dogs, doesn't matter.
Oh,
is he trying to get crazy with you? You guys gonna go line dancing tonight?
No, we have work to do tomorrow. I'm not sure what they're planning, but maybe they need a driver.
Nice. Well, I show up on Wednesday night. If you want to go line dancing, then I did actually end up going a few years ago. There's so I mean this in all seriousness. Have you been to like a Texas large bar before? Like the ones that are like 2 acres large and have just gigantic dance floors full of just cowboys line dancing?
Oh man, no.
You should.
Right, well, we're gonna go, and I'm gonna slow dance, but I'm gonna hold you at shoulder length because I don't want you to get too close because I don't want to fall in love with you.
Corey, you should.
Don't hurt me, Jim.
Don't break my heart.
Let's get a couple more questions, and then we'll let you go go have sex with a bull or whatever it is you're gonna do there. You got more questions, guys?
Yeah, here's one from True to It. And he asked this question, we've already kind of gone over it. How do you feel about bank tracks? And why does everybody have this big like conception of like,
they're going to drive bank tracks?
Yeah, bank tracks. These foreigners, man, they're gonna hate them.
They don't know about inclines.
I absolutely love bank tracks, and I think they're now my favorite.
How did the rumor start, though?
Yeah, why does be? I don't get it.
It's the internet. People like talking.
Ooh. Yeah,
Rumor mill.
we're on their internet right now, and we're talking.
Fake news.
So
Not really. Thanks.
fake news. Question. Okay, this is a hard one from Blackhand Brandon. Hope you're ready for this. He's asking Lucky Charms or Captain Crunch. Oof.
Lucky Charms. I bring them everywhere.
Yep.
Including these pictures behind me.
Yeah.
Some of my Lucky Charms.
Here's Matrigali Racing.
Ooh.
What preparation did you do researching the drivers coming back to FD, or did you follow the series closely while you were away?
Yeah, so I used to, when it didn't clash with around back in Europe, I'd definitely stay up and watch the live stream with friends. So that was one way. I always kept up to date with drivers' videos after events, and of course before the year started and before every round, I just watched last year's live stream back. So I think probably most of the other drivers do that too, even if they competed there. Just to refreshes your memory.
All right, let's close it down with Mike V Skater. What is your favorite non-drifting, and I'm going to extend that to non-car related thing to do?
I would say I obviously like traveling, but just having a good time with my friends, whatever that may be.
That means drinking and getting fucked up and fighting people.
Yep.
No, I don't like fighting, but I'm saying
Getting fucked up and loving people.
yeah, that's more.
Excellent. I think that's the episode title. Is that the episode title, boys?
Yeah,
is it
I'm okay
again?
with
Fucked
that.
up and loving people
Getting fucked up. I'm just gonna call it getting effed up. How about that?
and loving people. Sure.
Perfect.
All right. Well, it seems like you've got a lot of getting loved up and fighting fucking people to do, James, before the night is done. Anything else you want to say to our humble audience, or anything else you want to announce before going into Formula Drift Texas in a few days?
And what's the odds of you coming back next year?
Coming back next year.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks very promising right now. Obviously, it's all I want to do. So, but I think you'll see us here again next year. That's the plan right now. So,
I think it's almost funny though if you just come in and kick everyone's asses just to prove you can, and then just like leave. Like, man, screw it. got nothing more to prove. I already kicked all you Americans' asses anyways. What's the point of even staying? I'm just gonna go home and sit with my massive trophy and party.
David Egan already says that he doesn't want to take him back. Remember?
Oh, David Egan doesn't want him back.
Yeah, he says you're not allowed.
I can send you messages.
Oh, he's
Oh,
Sorry, at the last-
get back. We need you.
I know. I said on Maximum Driftcast not to
I'm
come
just
back.
kidding. I love you.
I'm like, oi, bloke, might. No.
When are you guys coming to Ireland?
as soon as you invite us, as soon as you and David get your shit together and give us a place to stay and potatoes to eat.
Well, the place to stay is very easy, and potatoes are a given.
Done.
Deal.
I love
Oh,
potatoes.
no, I left out Jameson and Guinness. Do you have that too?
Yep.
What about
Excellent.
ciders?
All right, well, we'll see you tomorrow.
No, wait. You're a cider man, right?
September 22nd to 24th. Put it in your diary.
Right.
Take a little vacation. You've been working very hard this year, so you deserve.
Well, I'm already going to write all about this conversation in my diary. Dear diary, James was mean. No, you're such a nice guy, James. Thanks for
I'll
taking
get
time out of your.
English lessons over the winter.
What's that?
Sorry, I will get English lessons over the winter.
No, you got perfect English.
Almost as good as mine.
Yeah, you and Paco get along perfect.
So,
Well, thanks for taking so much time out of your busy schedule to finally get on the show. At the beginning, we were of course lying. We were trying to get James. James didn't have time for us. I know you guys, our fans, probably think that we are the cooler ones than James Deane. I assure you, we might not be. But James is jet lagged, and we're gonna let him get going, and hopefully see him continue his domination of Formula Drift in a few days on Formula Drift Texas.
Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yep. Thank you, James. We will talk to you soon, and certainly not talk crap about you the second you hang up.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
All right, later, man.
have a good one.
Bye.
Wow. Oh, he's got. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. The luck of the Irish.
He's probably going to bed and flicking the Dean.
That's a spicy line, Corey.
Meatball.
Yeah, that was a total marble rice sandwich. What do you call those Irish? God damn it, I forgot.
Irish Dookie.
Sure.
Dookie.
Irish Dookie. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I was definitely expecting him a lot more.
I bet he's smoked, dude. I bet he's just so done. He's like,
Yeah.
I've been traveling. He's Germany, then home, and then here.
He says he's tired.
No,
of
he's
his
obviously
jet.
such a nice guy. He's always so excited and happy. And the only reason why we haven't been able to have him on the show yet is because he's always building cars. He's like a Forsberg. Like when he's not driving or traveling, he's like in the garage working on his own cars. It's pretty wild.
And I know there's still so much we should have asked them, but like you said, Sam, it was so last minute. Like we found out earlier today that he was going to be on the show, so it was like, cancel everything we're doing. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, he actually called us like, "Hey guys, can I be on your show?" Like, I'm like, nah.
No joke. So here's also a little bit of his humor that I think was intentional. Like he knew I wanted to do a driver on driver with him, which I actually have filmed. Spoiler alert. Yeah, I'm just editing it right now. That went very well, I think. But he was trolling me, and I've been bugging him all year to get his number and digits and information to get a hold of him for just to release the podcast. He gave me the wrong number intentionally, I think.
Oh, so that wasn't a joke?
Like, texting that. Yeah, I think he intentionally gave me the wrong number. At least he was making it seem that way. Yeah,
was
just to
joking
troll me
about it.
because he knows that I guess I troll people.
Yep.
So then I finally got the right
nabbits.
number, and then he kept on telling me that his internet was too bad in Ireland to talk to me and what have you. So I think he's a little bit of a troll himself, but no joke, he's a super busy guy. Happy we could finally have him on the show. And I don't know. I think that's why I didn't even know what to say to him at the beginning because he's just been a force to be reckoned with. He's dominating the drifting leagues, and his driving and car are out of this world.
Not to mention, you already spent a lot of your jokes on your driver and driver.
That's the thing too. I'm not trying to spoil those.
Yeah.
It really took a lot of energy in me to not say a bunch of the stuff that I am editing right now.
Do you have a tentative date for release? Tentative?
I do not. I try to get it out before Texas, but of course that didn't happen just because I have to work on the things that pay me the money first, and I've been doing a bunch of other shows and what have you.
Which, by the way, we went to Grid Life last weekend. That was
we
pretty
sure
insane.
freaking were, which is why we took the week off because we needed to sleep for 2 days.
Yeah, it was like, dude, not like the levels. It was insane. Like a lot of the people were like asking how big was it in comparison to last year's, and it was like
2 to 3 times bigger than last year's Good
Easily.
Life South. Which is
Yeah.
insane.
So
And there was tons of Maximum Driftcast fans that came out and said hello to us, and they all cursed Corey's foul name for not coming there. But Corey had a very good reason actually not to come this time. Corey, you announced the news on your Facebook and other pages, but what's your big news?
Yes, so obviously, I got a lot of messages. I saw on the other day I released that I will be driving the old Z that I ran at FD in 2013. Ended up getting that from Voodoo and K-Sport. I got that back from them. And obviously that car's been sitting for the past, 2.5 years? I think the last time somebody drove it was Forsberg at Street Driven Tour like 2 years ago. Because that's when he didn't have the M, or the M was getting serviced, and so he had to borrow the Z. So that's the last time the car's been ran. So it's been sitting since then. And so I went up and talked to the guys over there and told them the situation with the boss, which the reason why we went this route is because with the boss, the people who built the motor, it's taking time, obviously, to get the parts built, and obviously to investigate what actually went wrong in the engine so it doesn't happen again. Because the main bearings and the rod bearings are perfectly fine. They almost look brand new, but the cam bearings were obviously shredded. Yeah. So it was getting good oil pressure. And like in LS's, the main bearings usually go first if there's oil starvation and things like that. But there was no signs of wearing. It's only through the cam. So we're trying to figure out why that happened. And so everything in that motor from the cam up was built custom order. So it's another 6 weeks to 8 weeks out for getting the new motor, and I just didn't want to throw a junkyard motor in there knowing I'm just going to pull it back out, or if it really does anything, like if it destroys the heads of the motor, that's $4,000 or $5,000 that it's not worth it to blow up the whole complete engine. If I can salvage the head, salvage the crank, then I could just get a block, pistons and rods and rings, which that's what I'm working on now. So anyways, I tested the K-Sport 350Z 3 days ago, and it worked.
Which is your first time really drifting in years, right?
Yeah, so I haven't really drifted a comp level car, Pro 1, Pro 2 level car, probably 2 years.
that was definitely like a 33rd place qualifying run you put on that video.
Yeah. Was it?
That was. It looked good.
Thanks, Pac.
But I'm saying, I mean, obviously, no. I mean, like, yeah, you put a little video on your Instagram. You had Dustin.
It wasn't a
follow-
little video. It's a great video. Paco.
It's little because
had
I saw it on the-
Dustin as a chase car driver.
Yeah.
And he got his audio fucked up with rock chips to follow you, right, Corey?
Yeah, that's totally what happened. But anyways,
Yeah, looking good.
so I made a deal with the guys over at K Sport to use the car. So I got it wrapped exactly like the boss, and we shook it down, made all the changes to it. So if anything, like I said, I just wanted to be out there. I just want to go out there and compete. I want to go out there and drive. I don't care how good or how bad I do. I'm going to go out there and try to win and try to go forward. But like I said, you know what? I just want to turn a lap because I told everybody I would, and I feel that's a personal goal of mine is just at least turn a lap. So what happens
Well,
to that is-
What about James Deane? James Deane says that you should go out there and win.
Yeah, no, I want to definitely try that. I want to, but my like he said, you know, his initial goal was just to go out there and qualify and just get a good season.
No,
under
he
his
said he
belt.
wanted a trophy.
Well, yeah, that's it. He wanted one trophy, so anything over that was just a bonus to him. Well, obviously my bonus is set fairly low since I've been out for 2.5 years, and
But Corey, what I'm getting at is that we are not as like nice people as James Deane. So you could have the goal to get a trophy. We can just go about getting one different ways.
well,
Like,
so Sam, so help me out here because all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just ease the stress off because I want to
I'm
sit.
saying let's take somebody's trophy.
No, I'm definitely going to try that. But the thing is that I don't want to get in my head, dude. I don't want to set like this goal. I get so frustrated. I just want to go out there and just go one competition at a time.
you heard-
Like what I'm looking at is, okay, I want to get through practice. Okay, I want to get through practice well. If I go through practice well, then I'm going to go to qualifying. I'm going to look at qualifying. Do you know? That's just getting in the show. And then I'm going to look at each, like, I want to look at this differently than what I used to because I used to try to go out there and just like, oh, I'm going to fuck everybody up. And then I put a lot of pressure on myself and I would stress all the time. And I don't want to do that. I want to look at this event particularly in pieces, not so much as like wanting that trophy at the end. So I'm looking at each part of it as a phase. I want to get through each phase.
What if you put Sam on your racing suit and then put him like a stick-on blonde mustache and
Yep.
let him pretend it's you?
Sure. Sam, you're more than welcome to. You know, you're going to be there.
Yep. Well, if you want
so-
me to take the wheel,
No, that's
I
the
could.
so this is the real thing about the sport. It is more head game than anything. Like this sport is purely what is in your head. This is I personally believe this is what affects most of the drivers in Formula Drift is what goes on in your head. You can beat yourself before you even get to the racetrack. And a lot of people do that. And that's I think that's biggest weakness. And like when I was serious, when people go to sports psychologists and Sam, you probably know this. Vaughn has a routine before he goes qualify, doesn't he?
Yep. Well, I mean, he chills out and he gets in his head and he does like mind games on an iPad. He does lots. Like everyone's got their rituals. Like I did back in the day in my Drift Chronicle show. I just did a show on rituals. Like everyone's got their thing. Like Forsberg often takes naps in his car on grade. He does the opposite of what Deane does. Like he'll like going in his car, maybe not necessarily early, but like he'll get in there and just like settle in, and that becomes like an extension of him. And he like falls asleep in his car. Chelsea does a line of coke right before he gets in his car. Just a huge rail off his dashboard.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's why he's always hitting everyone.
Yeah, that's why he's always full throttle and just crashing and breaking
Say
things.
hello to my little friend.
No, so that's
I know it doesn't need to be. I know it doesn't need to be said because it is, but it is a joke. Of course, he doesn't do that. I don't even know what Chelsea does. He usually disappears.
and
the
doesn't
time before
Dye
then,
splash
so.
water on his radiator?
Yeah, Dye blesses his radio with water. So like everyone's got their thing.
But that's the thing is everybody has their own thing to clear their head and get their head right. And that is the most difficult thing about the sport. And I was saying earlier before everybody destroyed James's room is, you know, I've said this before. J.R. Hildebrand, who was a renowned IndyCar driver, he's qualified extremely high in IndyCar for Indy 500. He says qualifying for any Formula Drift round is more stressful than qualifying for the Indy 500.
Wow.
And that's coming from an IndyCar driver who has had much success in the sport, that he has not had that much stress in a motorsport than coming to FD and qualifying, because it does affect everybody. And I think the people who win are the people that are able to compose themselves and turn it on when they need to. And that's that robot effect we talk about. You know, Forsberg being a robot, Osmo being a robot. They have the best control of their mind to be able to turn it on and block everything out when it matters.
Yeah, because it's crazy. It's not like necessarily that you're qualifying against somebody. Like you're being judged. Even in qualifying
Yep.
and competition, you're being judged. So even if you think you did everything great, it turns out that for some reason the judges saw something that you didn't, and that's it. 33rd place.
Yep. It's just once again that goes back to the stresses of a driver. It's communicating with the judges, communicating with your spotter, being able to retain that information, being able to drive somewhere on track and then go back and look at it and say you got to make these changes, but still be able to make those changes. Because a lot of drivers will go out there and do the same thing over and over, and you'll tell them, hey, you need to change this, but they're just programmed to do the same thing they've been doing because that's what they're comfortable doing. But if you're able to comprehend what people are telling you and be able to get the car to do what you want it to do when you want to do it, that's all in the head, man.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've really been focusing on. Like, I seriously been thinking about it a lot lately.
Well, stop thinking about it, Corey. Don't worry.
No, because I want to come up with this. I really want to come out with a routine and a strategy and ways to just get your head right.
Just try yoga.
Nah.
Well, what about hot dog?
No, because I think I got it.
Swallowing.
I really think I have. I'm going to test it this weekend. Is just having what my fix is. Like I said, everybody has their own routine, and my routine, instead of looking at the event as a whole, look at piece by piece. Look at each piece of the event as the competition. The first competition I'm getting into is practice. Once I succeed in practice, I'm going to look at the other piece, which is qualifying. Once I complete that piece, because the thing is, I'm not taking things as a whole. I'm not digesting 1,000 things at once. I'm only digesting one thing at once.
Yeah.
So once I digest,
Aren't you kind of always digesting though when you think about it? Because you're always eating.
yeah, it feels like it. But yeah. So, anyways, yeah, this past couple months has been really crazy, and
You definitely had to deal with a lot. I mean, just like the whole engine blowing up thing. I mean, that's like heartbreaking for me just to watch. I mean, and it definitely takes a lot away from you. And I mean, I'm super happy that you got a hold on the 350Z. That car, you're used to it, like you know it. And the guys from America, they've been working on it, making sure that the car is sold ready to go.
Oh yeah, those dudes have been helping out so much, and even before that, it's people don't realize how much work this sport is on this level. People don't have.
You think, show up and drive.
They don't realize that this what even though I have not turned a lap in this sport, I've been working from SEMA all the way up until now.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I haven't turned a lap,
Yeah.
But the thing is you can't stop. You could stop and be like, do you know what? I missed already 2-3 events. I'm not going to do it. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to get it done, you just got to go get it done. And I was able to find a way to make it happen. And it's just one of those things. I think once you set your little basic personal goals, you just got to do it. And that was my personal goals. I want to turn one lap in Formula Drift this year, and I'm going to do it. So I got my first goal accomplished, or potentially going to be. So we'll move on to the next step.
Well, my goal is for you to get a trophy, and I don't mean again by winning. I mean that let's take whoever
Getting
wins.
Oh, we'll
trophy,
steal somebody's if we don't earn one, Sam,
Yeah.
for sure.
and that makes it yours.
Yeah, for sure. We can scratch it out, put duct tape over it. We've made spaghetti
Excellent.
trophies before, so this is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're gonna-
exactly.
They can always go with a good old edible arrangement situation with the judges and just reach their love through their stomachs.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, they'll probably just give you a perfect a 17. They'll go from 33 to 17th qualifying.
Yeah,
Well, I know that I am personally hyper excited to see Corey drive a drift car at the track, because I'm sure every other person on the show is, or every other person I should say that listens to the show, despite how much grief I've given Corey over the years, I only do it because I'm so fucking excited for him to actually be driving. So
Thanks,
I'm
man.
pumped for whatever it is you may do on the track, even if it's just going off the first corner and totaling the car.
we've done that before.
I'm gonna be excited for all of it.
Do a backflip.
We've done all that before. Do you remember Texas like 2 or 3 years ago when I jumped the curb, Sam?
Yep, sure do.
That was
Yeah,
cool.
there's a good photo of that. You were
Yeah.
launching to space, butt first.
Man,
Well, what do you think, boys?
it was
That's good.
fun.
Any more announcements, Paco, or anything?
Well, other than again, thanking our Patreons. All you guys
Yep.
are awesome, because if it wasn't because of you, we wouldn't be doing this silly show. Well, we probably would be doing it, but we would be doing it on a probably tighter budget. So it's thanks to you guys that we're able to reach you every week, except last week because we
I would
took
be
a
doing
week
meth.
off.
If it wasn't for them, I'd be on the streets doing
Oh,
meth.
for sure, Sam. You
Yeah.
would. You'd
Well,
be
meth,
so spun
meth
out.
is expensive too, so we can totally use
Yeah.
Patreon money to buy some methamphetamines.
Oh,
Just saying.
boys.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
But also,
Maybe that
thank-
should be. Should that be one of the? Should that be one of the monthly goals? It's like 300 is this goal. Like 500, like Sam and Paco shave Corey's mustache. 1,000 an episode is just gonna say meth.
meth.
Oh God.
We do meth.
Well, I think by now we should be able to pay for the rehab. So it's
Yeah,
gonna be fun.
that'll be $2,000. It'll be rehab.
You don't need that. That's for quitters.
That's right.
Yep.
And also,
All right, well,
thanks to AEM.
Yep. AEM as always. We're gonna have a pretty
thanks
good
to McLeod as well.
Oh, McLeod.
McLeod clutches.
McLeod Tuner Series clutches.
Clutches.
Clutch. Well, Tuner Series. Well, all kinds of in between drivetrain component, between engine and transmission.
Yep.
I
Thank
also
you
want to
guys.
thank McDonald's for bringing the. Is it like a sriracha sauce or like it's not Szechuan sauce. It's a different sauce.
Is
They
it
brought back a
sriracha?
sauce for the chicky nug nugs.
It's
I forget
crazy.
which sauce it is, but I want to call out McDonald's for that. I haven't eaten
Actually,
them yet, but I just
funny-
am excited about
funny
eating them
thing.
someday. So.
Funny thing, I'm actually calling out McDonald's because last night you got me sick. I went to McDonald's like at 12, and I got like an
Hey, Paco,
artisan.
take it easy. They're one of our primary sponsors, dude. You wanna
Well,
take- take it
hopefully they'll listen. But yeah, they gave me like a 6 hour-old burger that was like hard as a rock, and I puked like a couple hours later.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That just means it's cleansing your system. It was a McDonald's cleanse.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
easy. You're doing a cleanse or flush.
Mm-hmm.
right?
McDonald's cleanse system. Yep. But yeah, I
Are you going to go to Texas or no?
I don't think so, Corey. I this is actually my first weekend off that I had, and which, by the way, we're shooting on a Labor Day, Monday, which we shouldn't be working. We should be just grilling burgers. But no, here we are working for you guys on our Labor Day.
Yeah, it's Labor Day. Labor Day means labor hard for you
Yes.
to have an enjoyable
Yeah.
day back at work on
I
Tuesday.
thought I was on labor the other day. I was I had Filiberto, Sam. I had a bean, cheese, and rice burrito, and I was in labor all day.
Next day you were in labor.
Yeah.
Had a couple brown kids.
Yeah. No, but today's awesome. Thanks to everybody. Obviously, we support everybody on Labor Day.
And
Well,
anything you want to ask? F?
nope.
Perfect. Scory?
See
Brian?
you guys on next week in Texas.
Well, let's.
Yep, and make sure to check out another episode. I think Paco, you need to give Corey the equipment for late night with Lorette because we're gonna hopefully film another one of those at the track.
Oh, that's right. Yep, I'll make sure so you guys can get a new next episode of Late Nights with Loretta, Texas.
Yeah, so
So-
yeah, you're gonna have to show me the ropes, Paco,
No
as we
worries.
walk around the pits and get all the details, post event details with Lorette. Lolo Nix, our on the ground, lovely correspondent.
Perfect. Yep. So we'll see you guys in Texas, and we'll see you guys next week. Anything else? Follow Sam at Sam Drift Idiot. Follow Corey at Corey Hosford. Go follow me at Tofu Drift Fan. And thank you guys for listening. And you guys have a good, lovely night. Right?
Oh, see y'all later.
Yeah.